Skill is the ability to do something well. Hence, I'd like to talk about a talent that I learned in 2004, and that was culinary arts. Growing up, I did not know how to prepare nourishing and delicious meal. And it did not bother me because my auntie was always there to prepare the family's meal. So in the year that I mentioned earlier, I decided to learn how to prepare different types of cuisines so as to be able to prepare food that are not only delicious but are also mouth-watering. On top of this, to prepare cost-effective meal so as to cut cost. Following this, I told my auntie, who encouraged me by enrolling me in a catering school where I was taught how to prepare both local and continental dishes. Although it was a Herculean task, but I persevered because I have a target. Today, I'm on top of the world because I am now an expert in preparing multitude types of cuisines, thanks to my auntie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear. So, yes, dear. When it comes to speaking of yours today, you started explaining in sequence rather. You started with the definition when it comes to what's a skill and how was it
Yes.
difficult, which your, all of that details and who are the people involved in this as well. So when you were doing so, we have some of the words and phrases that you have repeated, like the word delicious being repeated multiple times, cuisine.
Okay.
So we will, probably replace those with similar words, dear. That's
Okay,
all.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Priscilla, go ahead, dear.
I learned this skill when I was in college. That was 7 years ago, while I was still a second year student at the college doing nursing. And this skill is about stitching of a wound for a severely injured patient. And this mostly happens after a road traffic accident or a case where people may be quarreling and fighting, and one of them is injured. So I felt that there is great need to learn this skill. And although I learned it in college, I didn't master the skill very well. So I came to gain expertise in this skill during my working years. And I've been able to work very well with colleagues by observing and assisting during these procedures. I've also been able to learn this, especially when I'm caught up in a situation whereby there's nobody else to do it. And this has motivated me to learn and assist a patient. It's a very basic skill that is required of any healthcare worker working in a hospital setup. I feel very encouraged now that I've been able to learn the skill. I feel very motivated. I'm able to transfer the knowledge to learners. They are able to perform the task with ease, and this is under my supervision. So I feel that I've achieved a great objective in my career.
So when it comes to your speaking, it was all okay. But then, we should have used some more connectors, and that's all. If that is used, when I say connectors and conjunctions in place here, at least two, firstly, secondly, next, later, and afterwards, some of the conjunctions, at least two conjunctions
Okay.
would sound even more, attractive. That's all there. Apart from that, everything is fine.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I see Poco and 3.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Learning is a lifelong process which never ends, and I always have been curious and linguistic by nature to learn about new skills. I have learned many skills in my life, such as driving, cooking, swimming, and so on. But here I would like to talk about a skill that was difficult for me to learn. It was culinary skills that I learned from my extraordinary grandmother. She has utmost experience of cooking. Actually, after completing my graduation, I was free at home and I had nothing to do. So I wanted to utilize my time properly. And along with that, I want to go abroad for my higher study. So, so learning cooking skill is definitely a good choice for me because there will be no one to cook the food for me. Firstly, I think it would be a daunting task for me because I have not much experience of cooking, and apart from that, I feel perplexed to learn about to learn about the name of ingredients, and secondly, I feel difficulty to find the difference between the good and bad quality veggies. But I learned it within a 1 month. My grandmother never scolded me to make the mess in kitchen, and several times I burned the food. But she always motivated me to try to learn cooking skill. Because of her motivation, I learned the cooking skill within a month, and now I am able to prepare the food for me and my family. And this skill will make a incredible change in my life. I feel confident and self-motivated because now I'm able to cook food for me and my family. So this was difficult firstly, but now I can say with determination and dedication, we can learn anything.
Probably you could slow down when it comes to your rate of speech and request you to sound, you know, with a little voice modulation will add on to your score, dear. There is this parameter called as pronunciation where you need to make sure there is bit of voice modulation when you're speaking. When you say cooking because this quality is my, I'm
Okay.
sorry, other members, if we could, please stay on mute. Yes. And then you use the word burnt. There is a specific food vocabulary, dear, that we could be using. We're going to be using the term charred when we actually burn that particular food or that black substance that is produced. Thanks so much. So you are good. So continue to do the great job, dear. Except voice modulation and rate of speech. Okay, when we use this word accident, all right, we're going to be using the right collocation to go with it. We're going to be using the word meet with an accident. So we're going to be using the word met because you're talking about past, and then
Okay.
when we talk about repetition, we could be using the word practice. I learned how to, drive a car. That is
Okay.
nice. And we could, have some more vocabulary words to explain. Their content was good, though. You had good content. So let's have some more vocabulary and some more connectors. Priscilla,
Yes, mom.
go ahead, dear.
Okay. Learning a new skill becomes like a piece of cake to some individuals, while others also find it a daunting task. Today, I would like to talk about a time that I found it an uphill task to learn sewing. Actually, a couple of years ago, when I graduated from pursuing a career in nursing, as I had to stay at home before I received permanent employment for the government, I wanted to utilize my time judiciously to learn a vocational skill. So I discussed it with my mom, and she also encouraged me to go on with it. So I just went to attend a vocational training, and the course was to last for 2 years. So initially, when I started, it was a peculiar task for me, just bringing some pieces of fabrics together in order to make beautiful dress. But then I never gave up. I just persevered and worked hard. I observed my other colleagues who were already in it, and with continuous practice, I was able to overcome it. Now, although I'm working as a professional nurse, I honed that skill in sewing. I normally do it as my leisure during my leisure periods, and also sew some dresses for my colleagues to also charge them for it. Now I feel very elated that I was able to learn this skill because it earns money for me. Thank you.
So speaking, yes, you have been able to use those connectors required. You use the modal verbs as well when you're putting things across. Vocabulary, I've made a note, judiciously wanted to make use of the leisure time. So everything in place here. So keep up the good job.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, dear. Lovepreet.
Well, I believe in learning new skills. Although I have learned many skills in my life, but here I have decided to talk about a skill that was very difficult for me to learn. And the name of skill is cooking. Actually, at the initial part, I thought this skill was a daunting task for me because I faced many problems while learning this skill. As far as I can recall, last year during lockdown in the COVID-19, I was free at my home. At that time, I decided to utilize my time in to learn something creative because I have planned to go abroad for my higher education. So I had to learn about cooking so that I am able to do cook for myself in my future time. So I started to learn more about cooking from my mother because I think she is good in culinary skills, and she always making a new dishes and cuisines in a very, and they are very delicious. So when I started the journey of cooking, I faced some problems because I took a lot of time to learn the name of spices. Apart from that, I it took a lot of time to. Sometimes I faced problems later to add some ingredients in a proper amount, and the biggest problem by cooking I was facing, that I was not able to cook anything properly. So after doing a lot of hard work for around 2 months, I learned this skill, but it was very really daunting task for me because it consumed a lot of time. But I think at that time was very useful for me because I learned this skill. Now I am able to cook anything after seeing a recipe on a book, on my and on YouTube videos. Apart from that, if I talk about the other main source of my learning about the cooking skill is to see the YouTube videos. At that time, I searched a lot of videos and I got a lot of help from them. So that was a skill that was very difficult for me to learn, and it is all about the cooking skill.
Thank you, dear. When it comes to speaking, so what we need to, yes, of course, let me repeat, there is an improvement in your speaking. So there are some words that you were pronouncing, incorrect, but now I don't feel that. So you have put in that effort to learn things, which is appreciable. Next thing, let's not repeat phrases, dear. See, we use, yes, this is one of the skills I would like to talk about the skill. So instead of that, we could have some, phrases to replace the same. Even at the end, you don't have to, probably summarize or conclude that using the same question statement. You could paraphrase instead as well, dear. So accept that it was all good. So all the very best, dear.
Thank you, ma'am.